Hi everyone. Do you know the difference between washing soda and baking soda? Do you know how ENO is going to be prepared? Do you know about potash alum and milk of magnesia? So these are the terminology important for your competitive examination. So today's topic we are going to discuss is antacids. Antacids, the substances which will act against to acids, anti-acids. Okay, these basically can be categorized into two. One is systemic and non-systemic. The systemic in the sense, so system is going to be absorbed into the systemic circulation and is going to treat the systemic acidosis or alkalosis. Whereas the non-systemic is, so it's going to be work on the lesions where it is, either it may be in esophagus, stomach or duodenum. So if you say this, the stomach, so here the pH of the stomach is around 7, the pH of the stomach is around 1, highly acidic environment. So normally whatever we take, either it is chicken, mutton, so it's made up of protein. Protein is going to be easily digested with this highly acidic environment. If you think this, so here the muscle is made up of again protein. Again there is a chance that if the acid is exposed to this stomach, this layer in the stomach, obviously it's get digested. So, but we have a protective layer between this acid and muscle, so that is called as mucus layer. Mucus layer will protects to inhibit the contact between the acid and a muscle. Okay, so but because of the various substances, maybe because of the smoking, alcohol, or maybe stress. So these, because of these agents, so here the mucus layer may leach from this area. So resulting of that, there is a direct contact with acid and muscles. So obviously it causes the lesions. So here these lesions may cause, if it is caused in the stomach area, it is called as peptic ulcer. If it is done in the esophagus, it is called as esophageal lesions. So normally the heartburn, all the symptoms can be seen because of this. And here if lesions form in the duodenum region, is called as duodenal ulcers. Okay, so here the treatment is, so either systematically we can decrease the secretion of Cl in the stomach, or we can give a protective layer around the stomach. Okay, so here protective layer can be formed by basically of three: aluminum hydroxide, magnesium carbonate and calcium carbonate. So if you see these properties of these drugs, these are insoluble, completely insoluble in water. So it can form a thick layer between the muscle and the acid. So thereby we can inhibit the contact of acid to this, and it will enhance the healing capability of this. Okay, so first we will discuss about this sodium bicarbonate, as we also called it as eating soda or baking soda. Okay, so here is going to be prepared by forming of the carbonic acid is treated with the ammonia and is formed the ammonium bicarbonate. This ammonium bicarbonate, if treated with the sodium chloride, so it will causes the sodium bicarbonate. Okay, if you go for the method 2, sodium hydroxide treated with the carbon dioxide is formed the sodium carbonate, and sodium carbonate again further treating with the water and carbon dioxide causes this sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so let's see what is the difference between the baking soda and washing soda. So here if you take the baking soda and you heat up to 100 degrees centigrade, is going to be converted to the sequential carbon. Okay, sequential carbon is said to be the Na2CO3, sodium bicarbonate, NaHCO3 and 2H2O. So this is called as, so because of the alkalinity, so we will call it as a washing soda. Okay, so assay in the sense like what is the content of the actual active ingredient present in our formulation. So it can be done by acidometric titration. So simply by taking the sodium bicarbonate and treating with the acid, which causes the salts. So here depending on this equation, we can calculate what is the content of the sodium bicarbonate present in our sample. So this is simply it is called as sodium bicarbonate is a ENO. So when we add the water, okay, it effervescence can be seen. If it is exposed with the acidic environment, obviously there will be efference can be seen. So that is nothing but carbon dioxide. Next, if you discuss about is we'll discuss about the aluminum hydroxide. So this is it is completely insoluble. So normal quantity is 3.5 to 4.5. So here aluminum hydroxide may be present in two forms. One is gel form and dry aluminum hydroxide. Okay, gel form in the sense the concentration is 3.5 to 4.5%, whereas dried form is present around 47% of the active ingredient may present in this. So it is present by it is prepared by the potash alum. Potash alum is a naturally available mineral. So here we will take the potassium alum and will treat with sodium carbonate, that results the formation of the aluminum hydroxide. So here the here potassium alum chemical formula is very important. Next, its aluminum hydroxide will filter and it will be white viscous in nature. So what is the Gelicel or whatever we will take antacid is nothing but the aluminum hydroxide. So if aluminum hydroxide it exposed with the HCl in stomach, obviously it will form aluminum chloride. So this aluminum chloride has the it shows the constipation activity. So resulting of that, so these drugs may show the constipation activity. Coming to assay, the complexometric titration is done. So in the sense the excess of the sodium EDTA is added to aluminum. So here the most of the EDTA is going to they form complex with aluminum, but the free EDTA can be titrated by using lead nitrate. So thereby we can find out what is the content of the actual aluminum hydroxide present in our sample. So apart from this, we have the magnesium hydroxide, one of the important antacids. Okay, it is also called as milk of magnesia. Okay, it has both antacid and laxative activity. Coming to preparation, sodium hydroxide treated with the magnesium sulfate, which results sodium magnesium hydroxide. Then it is a white crystal insoluble in water. And coming to assay, this is acid base titration. So magnesium hydroxide, if you treat it with sulfuric acid, so magnesium sulfate is going to be formed. So excess of the H2SO4 is going to be back titrated by using one normal sodium hydroxides. Based on that, we can find out what is the quantity of the magnesium hydroxide present. So this is how we can assay the component. So apart from that, we have this magnesium carbonate and calcium carbonate. Magnesium carbonate again divided into three: heavy and light. So depending on the water molecule, if the water molecule is present in magnesium carbonate, 5 molecule present, it is called as heavy magnesium carbonate, and 3 molecule present, if it is called as light magnesium carbonate. Okay, calcium carbonate. So these are all agents used as antacids. So here depending on so most of the drugs causes the constipation. So here what we do is we mix with different antacids. Say for example, calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate may cause, aluminum hydroxide may cause the constipation, but magnesium hydroxide, so it acts as a laxative. So if you mix these two agents, so the individual will not suffer with the constipation. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about the antacids. Hope this video is useful. Thank you.